This is Gabriel Gonzalez for Cageside Press here with UFC featherweight Danyelle Wolf taking on Norma Dumont at UFC 279 on September 10th. First off, Danyelle, last time we saw you was 2020, 2 years later, and coming up for a big pay-per-view. Can just talk about, I could just imagine the restlessness of 2 years to want to get back in the cage.
Yeah, for sure. The Contender Series was awesome. Such an awesome experience. Crazy time, during, COVID, all the gyms were closed down. It was tough to get a camp together and to get training partners. But now everything's up and running. All the training partners are here. Gyms are, full stock now. So it's a way easier time.
Now, the last time we spoke, you were talking about it. You were doing your beach workouts out here in San Diego and all this other stuff going on. What's the latest? Are you still getting everybody every Saturday for a bit of a workout with the Wolf, or what else is going on?
Yeah. Because all the gyms were closed, that was the only way to work out, So I was getting groups together, on the beach just to get competition, to get, to get some good workouts in, and it was good for everybody. It was good for the community. It was good for everybody's mental health. So that's what it was all about, But yeah, now, It's a lot going on right now during the fight camp. Just finished escrow a couple months ago. Now I'm in escrow again, and I have a
Best
business.
of luck.
Yeah, thanks. So I have a business I run as well, and it's just a lot. Training's the easiest part of my life, I feel. So when I come into the gym, man, I'm excited to work hard and to just prepare for this fight. But outside of that, it's a lot being a independent woman business owner.
Well, look, you're clearly on the grind trying to handle it. To go back a little bit, so we go back to 2020, you get your Contender Series contract, set to fight Felicia Spencer, and then you injure the elbow in training. Just talk to me. So obviously you get hurt, have to withdraw from the fight, but the recovery, clearly a lot of fans are like, well, hey, tear anything, maybe a year out. What exactly has kept you out of the cage for so long? Was it just the recovery? Did you need to go into the knife a bit? What happened?
So my UCL was torn like 43%. So it was right on the brink of, having to get surgery or letting it heal by itself. That you're right on the line at 43. So I chose no surgery. So, that takes, at 7 months, you're like, okay, I feel like it's okay. And then you'll try to get started and you're like, it's not. So I tried to start up a little bit too soon at 7 months. Had to kind of go back to getting off of it. And then obviously I was still training. I was still active and everything. Doing everything with my left arm. Then you get a little bit of left arm problems because you're doing everything with it. So that's MMA. Injuries come with this game. It's not baseball or whatever. This is a tough sport. You're going in every single day trying to kill each other, trying to drill. Things happen during training. Even drilling. Things just happen. So. When you see someone not coming to the gym, you're like, oh man, what did they hurt? It just comes with it. It's just natural. I've had many injuries during this journey. These were all new movements. These were all new sports for me to learn after my boxing career. So, it just comes with the game. It just comes with the territory of MMA.
And now to talk about that growth. So first of all, actually, I want to start with Norma Dumont. As an opponent, obviously, experience. A lot of people thought maybe, hey, if there is going to be a next 145 title challenger, she would even be on the short list just because I don't got to tell you, not too many girls officially solely 145 in the division. Talk to me about what she brings because obviously, I'd imagine being 1-0, when you break down an opponent like Norma, everything just feels like something that hey, you need to make sure you're ready for.
Yeah, no matter who my opponent is, I'm always going to be ready. I train 100%, doesn't matter who it is. I don't really focus on just the opponent. I focus on being my best, and I want to be the best MMA fighter that I can be. So I don't really compare myself or see what they're doing or see what their game plan is or whatever. I'm trying to be the best MMA fighter that I can. I was a great boxer and 4-time national champ at boxing, and I plan to do the same thing with MMA.
Do you watch any tape, or do you just let the coach handle it and be like, hey, Danyelle, we're going to work this and this because we think she might try it?
Yeah, I just let the coaches do their job.
Gotcha. And now I want to ask you probably the biggest question going into the fight that a lot of fans are going to have. They're going to look at the numbers. They're going to say, all right, great boxer, but only 1-0 MMA, been out a minute. Can she, like, if she gets taken down, is this a wrap? All this kind of stuff that fans always have. Just why is it not that simple? What is it that fans don't know beyond the numbers about the work you put in to make sure you're an all-around martial artist to defend and attack wherever this fight goes?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my journey is a little bit more unique than others. I was a boxer. I did have a boxing record. So it is a little bit difficult to get amateur fights, get amateur MMA fights, even to get, smaller pro fights. If you want a pro fight, now you have to sign a contract. So if I would have signed a contract with, a different league or organization, I would have been locked in with them, and I would have never been able to fight for the UFC. But with my credentials with boxing, I had a little bit more of a platform to play with. So I just had to do the work, put in the time, and have a great camp, have great coaches, and just give me everything I need that's around boxing.
Now, to ask you a bit on the business side of things, great boxing career, like you said, you come over to MMA. And it seems like lately, though, there's just even more of the crossover, specifically for the women. You have Amanda Serrano, who's fought MMA, big fights in boxing. Clarissa Shields, still doing her thing in boxing, trying the MMA thing. Is there any part of you that's like, this actually wouldn't be a bad time to get back into the squared circle if as a woman in the sport? I mean, I have to imagine it's come up when you've had as many boxing fights as you had.
Yeah, I mean, my heart right now is with MMA. It really is. From wall work to wrestling to jiu-jitsu, to putting it all together. I love it. It's the journey of it. And that's what it's all about. So many people are like, oh, she doesn't have this or doesn't. It doesn't even matter, man. It's all about just enjoying the journey, and I'm down for the challenge. It's all about taking challenges. You can't just not do anything in life because somebody has more experience than you. Then you're just gonna sit on the couch your whole life and watch TV and watch everybody else doing everything. So that's not my style. If they're like, hey, you want to be in the UFC, you have 0 fights. Screw it. Let's go. I'm gonna figure it out. So I mean, that's the type of attitude you have to have in life. With anything, with business, with relationships, with business endeavors, with athletics, whatever you're going after. You can't just quit just because people have more experience than you or whatever. Just say yes and then figure it out and find the way. And that's really how I am. I mean, I jumped headfirst into stuff, and then I figured it out. I mean, I started boxing at like 25 years old. I called the Olympics Center and was like, hey, how do you make Team USA? They're like, how long have you been boxing? I've been boxing for 2 weeks. They're like, yeah, you can't make Team USA at 25, boxing only 2 weeks in your life. I'm like, well, I've been an athlete since I was 6. I played field hockey, basketball, track, soccer, softball. I played everything. I had 4 years in college for 3 sports. And they were just like, yeah, there's no way. And I was like, all right, how do I do it? You got to have, this and this and that. You got to come to nationals. I went to nationals. I got on Team USA. I became national champion. I was the reigning national champ for 4 years. I won continental championships. I won national Golden Gloves, and I did it, And everybody was like, oh, that's impossible. You can't do it at that age, Like, these girls have been boxing since 6 and since 12 and whatever, But I mean, if you just take everybody's no or it's impossible, I mean, you're never going to accomplish anything. And I work my ass off. I mean, I literally work my ass off. I've still a couple more pounds to lose, so I literally am working my ass off. But yeah, man, you just got to take the challenges. I'm so sick of hearing people just give excuses about stuff all the time. And I mean, I jump head first into stuff all the time with real estate, with boxing, with MMA. I mean, it's not like I'm just going into a small organization. This is the best organization to fight MMA, and it has the best fighters. And I'm not going to shy down from an opportunity. I'm going to jump all over it, and I'm going to do whatever I can do to just take advantage of the moment, and just be present.
3 little ones to just round home. For the record, were there serious offers to sign you in boxing prior to Contender Series and all that?
Yeah, I had offers in many different organizations for both MMA and boxing, but I wanted to be with the best. Doesn't matter. And
specifically MMA, this was like, I know that they're doing this kind of stuff over here, but like UFC, the challenge, the brand, that's what said, this is what I really want to pursue with my time, my energy, everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even back with boxing, when I was around 25, I could have done anything. I had my college degrees. I was about to put myself through law school. And instead I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll go after go into Ironmans and 24-hour races and just be an extreme racer. And I started training for that. And that's how I got into boxing. I was running every single day. And someone was like, hey, are you a fighter? And I was like, no, I'm not a fighter. Fighter for what? And then, then the next day I'm running again. Someone was like, hey, what gym do you fight out of? And I was like, I don't even know what that means. And it just kept happening. And then that's honestly how I got into it. Somebody was just like, oh, you should try fighting. You're built like a fighter. You look like a fighter. You have the long reach. You're lean. And so I was just like, I'll try it out. So I tried it out because at the time I was training for Ironman. So then I went, I tried it out at the gym. The person was like, meet me at this gym. I tried it out. I was like, man, this is like the coolest challenge ever. Like, this is the first sport that I'm not good at, And I was like, I was good at field hockey, basketball, track, soccer, softball, everything. I played everything, professional mountain biking, everything. And it was this first sport that really challenged me because it was the only sport I haven't done, And I was, almost 25. And I picked up my first boxing glove, and I was just like, man, this sucks because I don't know what I'm doing, But that's what intrigued me, man. It was the challenge, and I was just like, I want to overcome this. Like, I want to learn this. Like, I'm so intrigued, and I mean, this is years ago, but I was just like, man, I'm gonna learn about this sport. I want to overcome this. It's like chess, it really is. And I just was really fascinated with the challenge, and that's what it's all about. It's all about going after challenges and stuff. And then once I didn't add my weight class in 2016, I was devastated, because I was told they were going to add my weight class to the Rio Games 2016, and I truly believe I would have won gold in 2016 for my weight class, 152 at that time, and because I was reigning continental champ and national champ, and I just really had the confidence that I would have won gold, and my weight class wasn't added, so I was devastated. So I was just like, all right, on to the next challenge, But I wanted to enjoy the journey. I wanted to do a good job at, just truly becoming a student of the sport of MMA and not just being a boxer, just thinking I can beat everybody and just jumping into MMA and then not being a well-rounded athlete. So, so that's when I, went up north. I trained up north. At King's MMA, and then at Black House, then went over to Thailand, went to Tiger Muay Thai, then I came back, then I trained at Alliance MMA, and then went back over to Thailand, Tiger MMA, and then I came back at Alliance MMA. I mean, and then of course there's injuries that come in there, you have a 7-month, knee injury, then a 7-month this. I mean, that's just MMA, boxing, I never had injuries, but it's very different when you're like, doing figure 4 locks and, arm bars and, stuff happens in MMA. Yeah, everything. You're trying to break things. You're not having big padded gloves on with headgear on and protecting everything, like boxing. Like everything's out, everything's exposed. You're popping stuff, you're breaking your own stuff, like that's just how it goes, So yeah, it's been a journey and I wanted to be complete, and I had to skip a lot of chapters due to my boxing experience, due to my boxing resume. So I wasn't able to get amateur MMA fights. I wasn't able to get, even like the small pro fights because they wanted me to sign like a 3 or 4 or 5 year contract. And I knew I didn't want to be stuck with, a smaller organization. I knew I wanted to go to the big times. I wanted to go to UFC, and I knew I could do it. Well, here I am. I knew that, okay, I'm not going to fight. I could have fought in a smaller organization right away. But I knew that to fight for UFC, I needed to train more and longer and harder and with great people. And, you want to be a lion, you got to train with the lions. And that's what I did for all these years, And injuries come up. That I did go back to boxing for a year in 2019. I won Olympic trials after I went back. But anyway, yeah, I came back to MMA. And this is where I want to be. I want to be in MMA, and maybe down the road, Dana and I can talk about bouncing back and forth. But for now, my focus is MMA, and I'm excited. I'm excited where I'm at. My team and I, we're doing great. Coach Eric and Coach Nick and Coach Carl, we're doing great things, and I'm learning every day and every week. I'm just hitting awesome milestones, so I'm excited.
Now, the final question, because I think everyone just wants to hear it from the women's featherweights who are actually here. The constant question, where are the new girls? Why is Danyelle Wolf the only new true 45er that they've signed in the last 2 years, it feels like? 1-0, you're going to go for that 2-0, is it just about, hey, I don't care who they sign, I don't care who they pick up, I don't care if she's coming up from 35, I don't care if it's just a newer girl like me, I'm just looking to get the fights, and if they say, hey, we have a belt on the line down the line, then I'll be ready for it. Is it safe to say that's the route? It's not about where's this person, where's that person, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one at a time, one at a time to the belt. And so, yeah, I mean, whoever they add and whoever comes up, I know there's some girls that it's very difficult for them to make 35. And so if they can't even make the weight, I mean, they're just coming up to 45. So it's not like they're not a true 45er. If they're not making 35, then they're a 45er. So, yeah, and it looks like they're adding some. It looks like some of the girls are deciding to come up to 45 just because they aren't making weight comfortably. Even though MMA is not a comfortable sport, but yeah, so yeah, it's bring it on.
What should fans expect on September 10th when you fight Norma Dumont?
Then I'm going to be a well-rounded MMA fighter. I'm excited to just show how much I've developed. Now the gyms are open, we got a great camp, we got consistency. I'm excited to show how far I've come. I'm excited. And to show myself, that's what I'm excited for. I'm just ready to train against a girl rather than all these guys every day. so I love Team Alliance. Dom Cruz is fighting this weekend. Really excited for that. So we've had such a great camp for him. So I got to play off that this whole time. So that's been really good for me. And now he's going to kill it this weekend. And then I have 5 more weeks till mine. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
Hey, let's go. Danyelle, thank you for the time out here in your house here at MMA, and just best of luck on September 10th.
Yeah, thank you.